In this video, we'll demonstrate how Avalor can be used to align with your existing workflows. So you've configured Avalor with a variety of sources that are all feeding in vulnerability or exposures or issues of some sort that present risk to your organization. We refer to those as different findings. So the question is, what do we do with those findings? How do we aggregate them or group them so that we can get them in front of the right people so that they can do their work efficiently? So for example, if we come in and we look at the tickets that Avalor has in the platform, and we look at the end user computing team's tickets, we'll see multiple tickets that have all been assigned to that team. And as you see, if you focus on this first one, Microsoft Edge findings on Windows Workstation, you'll see that there's 12 findings across 3 assets that have been grouped into a single ticket. So if you want to see why this grouping was done, we can come over to Settings and Grouping Rules. And you'll see that we give you the visibility of exactly how it's configured. And we also allow you to adjust or extend that logic. So in this case, you'll see it's the second rule that was triggered for that specific ticket that we just saw. So let's come in and take a look at that. We can see that there's some easy to understand logic. It's very easy to construct. And we can also provide support for you included in your license as part of our customer success team if you need help configuring these. The asset type contains workstation is the first condition. So this is going to filter out things like servers that are not part of the end user computing team's responsibility. And then we also want to make sure that we have the finding component key. The finding component key is basically the underlying thing that is vulnerable or that has the exposure. So in this case, it was Microsoft Edge. And we're also filtering based on the source, in this case, Qualys and Tanium. Ultimately, what we want to do is we want to group these by asset type and component key. So for example, if it's Microsoft Edge findings on Windows Workstation as that ticket that I showed you a moment ago, all of those things will be grouped together. But if we had other findings that were also for Windows Workstations, but let's say it was Adobe Photoshop was the component key, then those would have put in a separate ticket. The nice thing here is that you can create a single rule and it will apply for any number of combinations of whatever you're grouping by, in this case, asset type and component key. You don't need to go in and build a specific rule for each combination. Also, if your organizational structure changes down the road and you no longer have a single end user computing team supporting all Windows workstations or all workstations for that matter, you have an East Coast and a West Coast team, then all you need to do is add the asset region as a grouping rule. So we come down and we select asset region, and then this will allow for 2 tickets to be created where there was just one before. So it will be their Windows Workstation or findings on related to Microsoft Edge will now be a separate ticket for East and a separate ticket for West. So again, if we come back to the ticket one more time and we look at that specific ticket, we would like to group findings into tickets when 2 things are true. The first we've already discussed, which is that a common resource or assignee will work all of those findings. But the second is that the action they'll take when working it is the same. It wouldn't make sense to group things like Adobe Photoshop and Microsoft Edge findings on Windows Workstations into a single ticket because the way that you address those is likely different. One would require you update Microsoft Edge, whereas the other would require that you make an update to Adobe Photoshop, of course. So Avalor also provides you with the fix information. And again, because this is only Microsoft Edge findings on Windows Workstations, the fix is common to all of these issues. Simply upgrade or update the version of software, in this case it's Microsoft Edge, to this version, and you're good to go. The last thing to mention is that Avalor can also be integrated with your ticketing system. In this demo environment, we've integrated with Jira. So you can see here that we can create a Jira ticket directly from the Avalor ticket, and then those will be bidirectionally linked. So whether you go into the Avalor platform or your native ticketing system to make any updates to the status of the ticket or anything like that, it will automatically be updated on both sides.